Hi everybody, I'm Miss Roberts. I'm going to be the head of Year 2 next year. I'm actually going into my 10th teaching year at James Wellington Academy, so very excited to be stepping into a new role this year. Lots of familiar faces for children in Year 1, so very much looking forward to Year 2.
Fabulous. So we're just going to talk you through what Year 2 looks like, and we'll just pick out any similarities and differences with Year 1. School drop-off times remain the same, so it will be drop-off at 7:15 to 7:45, and you will still be able to drop your children off at the door. Lessons do start at 7:45, so it's really important that we are on time for those. And pickup is at 3 p.m, so that's Monday to Thursday. And on Friday, drop-off time remains the same, 7:15 to 7:45, and then pick up at 11:50. Just like this year, ECAs will run Tuesday to Thursday from 3:15 to 4:10. And just a reminder that there is not a bus service for this.
So here is an example of a timetable in Year 2. So this may look quite similar to the timetables you've seen in Year 1 this year. We do have our specialist subjects. So we do have music, swimming, PE, Arabic A and B, Spanish or French, and also Islamic A and B. Now, obviously not all children will attend the Islamic A and B sessions. However, those children who will be left in the classroom will be working with the class teacher to do some additional skills boosts based on English activities, potentially some interventions for reading, maths, and those children will be able to do some additional activities their needs. We do have a library session every week as well, where the children are able to change their books in our library. And then our normal core subjects, we have maths, English and explore time as well, which will be similar to the setup this year with continuous provision in Year 1. We do have phonics 3 times a week, and our projects for change and science is also timetabled on there as well. So some of our topics for Year 2. In Unit 1, we'll be covering our topic called Farm Africa, where the children will be looking at Africa, comparing it to the UAE and other countries around the world. It's a big geography focus for the children, looking at the different continents and oceans, and also looking at the climate within those countries, which will link very well to the Year 1's weather topic. In Term 2, we'll be focusing on life below water, the Sustainable Development Goal, life below water, looking at aquatic guardians. So this is a focus on animals' habitats, sustainability, and this year for our topic, our children created their own tote bags to promote sustainability, recycling, and just to kind of get that message across to everybody. And in Unit 3, we'll be looking at our out of this world transport topic, so the Sustainable Development Goal of affordable and clean energy. This is a history topic, and we'll be looking at things like the history of the first flight, also looking at the first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, and also linking that to the UAE's goals to explore space as well. The children this year again designed their own wind-powered car, so that might be something we'll also continue with that creative element again next year as well.
In Year 2, we will continue with continuous provision, which is really exciting. It's an opportunity for the children to continue to build their independence and to apply their learning in a different way, in a more independent way, and in a way that is fun and interactive for them. They have already gone through school through FS with continuous provision through Year 1, and we do like to continue that in Year 2 and slowly pull it back as we get through the year. So they will begin the year with less than they had in year one, but a good amount of time for continuous provision, that play-based learning where they could really be independent. And it's really, really, really crucial for our children who are still learning English and developing their language. So it really helps to develop that. So we'll have a big focus on that next year as well. We will continue to teach phonics and follow the Read Write Ink programme that we have followed in year one and throughout FS. The expectations, the minimum expectations that we have is that by the end of term one, children are reading yellow books. The end of term two, they are on blue books, and the end of term three on grey books. Ideally, we would love all the children to move on to our comprehension by the end of the winter term. So we will really, really be pushing that reading and be asking you to support them at home with that. We have put a little QR code on the PowerPoint that you can scan so that you can just practice saying the set 1, 2, and 3 sounds with your children at home. And in year two, we really want to build their fluency and we really want to build their comprehension. So as much work as building fluency, encourage children not to sound out when they don't need to, so that they have that reading stamina for year two. We also continue to teach spelling. So in the curriculum booklet that you will get, you will have a week-by-week breakdown of what the spellings will be. This links closely with our Read Write Ink programme as well. We do teach the spelling rules, so we don't just expect the children to learn them. We teach them, we teach in context, and then the children have opportunities to practice spellings through the week, practice them at home, and then have their spelling test at the end of the week.
So alongside our core maths lessons, we also have our number skills, our core number skills for year two. These are slightly different from the year one ones. However, I know in year one, they will have been developing some of their own skills as well. So each year we have identified some core number skills that the children should really be aiming to know by the end of the year. So we have split it up into different terms. However, any of these skills can be learnt or practiced throughout the year. The aim of this is to support quick mental calculations, develop your child's confidence, and also for them to be able to understand patterns and relationships. So you've got different skills here. For example, doubling whole numbers up to 20, the 2, 5, and 10 times table, which they will learn within their maths lessons in year two as well. Things like number bonds to 20, number bonds to 10 as well. I know that have been practicing already in year one, and just building on that fluency to enable your child to have that foundation. Children who have a strong foundation with these core number skills will be more successful at kind of building their understanding of the more complex problems the further they get on within the primary school. Alongside that, we've identified some key skills for you to practice over the summer with your child. Different things such as independence, so encouraging your child to dress themselves, pack their own bag, and tidy up after activities. This will link well to when they're getting changed and unchanged within swimming. So making sure that they can dress themselves, particularly something we found this year are doing the buttons up. It might sound like something very little, but just practicing undoing and doing buttons up, putting the ties on, tucking shirts in, small things like that. The second one we've put is about developing reading confidence. So I know that Mrs. Hall already spoke about that already, but reading together daily, talking about the books that you are reading, and exploring different kinds of books to build that fluency and enjoyment for your child. The basic math skills. So again, I've already mentioned those core math skills. So practicing things like the number bonds to 10, number bonds to 20, counting in 2s, 5s, and 10s. That can just be allowed. It doesn't necessarily have to be learning 5 times 2 off by heart, just practicing counting. It could be in the car, on a journey, and even things like simple maths games with time. or money as well, particularly if you're traveling over the summer. The fourth one there is writing practice. So supporting writing at home. That doesn't necessarily mean writing lengthy stories, but it could even be writing your shopping list, writing cards, birthday cards, or even short stories, any stories that they might have made up. It could even be things like diary entries if you've been away anywhere, or just something exciting that your child might want to write. I'm reminding them to use some of those skills that they'd have learned already in year one: capital letters, finger spaces, and full stops. And the final one on there, we've put about social skills and resilience. So talking about feelings, understanding whether your child knows the different feelings, for example, whether they're feeling happy, sad, frustrated, and the tools for how to kind of deal with that, particularly in different settings. Encourage sharing and turn taking, which I know can sometimes be a tricky skill in Key Stage 1. And then helping your child to feel positive about new challenges. So it's always daunting going into a new year group, particularly meeting new friends, a new teacher, it's a new classroom. So just making sure that you have that open conversation with your children about it, just so that they're not feeling too overwhelmed towards the start of the year.
There have been no changes with uniform from year 1 to year 2. So just here on the screen, you can see the uniform expectations, shirts, trousers. All children must have a tie. The tie does link with their house. And if you don't know that, you can get that information from the class teacher. And all uniform can be purchased from Threads stores, which are located across Dubai. And then again, here are just the options for the jumpers and swimwear. We do ask for black shoes to be worn and for white trainers on PE days. So we do dress for success in our school. We want our children to look smart, to feel good about themselves, to be prepared for learning. So we just have some images of what that looks like. I know Ms. Roberts did touch on it a little bit with shirts tucked in, like I said, black shoes and white trainers on PE days. On a PE day or a swimming day, we do expect children to come in their PE uniform. And they can have their swim kit in their bag, but if they do have swimming first lesson, they can wear their swim kit to school. We do have mixed gender swimming. This is so important, the next bit, labelling children's clothing. Items of clothing go missing all the time. We do find jumpers and cardigans, and it's really easy to identify who they belong to if it's labelled, and it's easy for children to be able to find them. So please do make sure that all their clothes and bags are labelled, just so that we can find them easily. Hats and sun safety. So we know it's very hot in Dubai. Every child must have a hat, you know, when the sun is out and it's warm and we're outside. If children are not wearing a hat, you know, they're not able to play outside of the shade. So please make sure that they have a hat, and just no hooded jackets, school jumpers only. And each child must have a Wellington bag. I know that, you know, children sometimes they do beg you for their favourite character bags, but it is a Wellington bag. That is our school rules. And no wheelie bags at all. Wheelie bags are a big health and safety concern in our school, so it's really important that we don't have any wheelie bags.
So here are a few contact details. These, again, haven't changed, so these are the same as last year's. So you've got different email addresses here for the reception, the academy attendance, clinic, registration team, and then you've got obviously STS, the finance team, the PRE and the GRE as well. If you are sending emails about absence or anything to reception that you would also like your child's class teacher to know, please also make sure that they are CC'd within the email, so that then the class teacher is aware of anything that you are sharing with others. and just about parent communication. So we do communicate with you in lots of different ways. Every week we send a newsletter. So usually that is on a Friday, and that outlines our learning for the week, and any key messages really. Emails will be sent by your child's class teacher as well. And in an email, it could be anything from your child may have forgotten something in school. It could just be something general, checking in on your child. Or obviously, if you want to email your child's class teacher about anything that you want to share, then please obviously feel free to send those as well. Any booked meetings. So we do have our parent teacher meetings throughout the year. So usually these are done on Teams. Sometimes we do these face to face as well, or it could even be a phone call from your child's class teacher, or even myself as head of year next year. We do send our reports home as well. So your child's reports, usually these are more kind of academic related, rather than that day-to-day communication. We also have our parent celebrations where we will invite you in. We usually have these once every term. Sometimes it might be more, where you are invited in to have a look at what your child's been learning within class. And I know that the children get very, very excited about having the parents come in. So please watch out for those emails to make sure you're aware of those different events. We also use Seesaw in year 2 as well, which I know that you'll be familiar with already in year 1. And we use that to take photographs, pictures. The children sometimes record their own things on there, particularly within continuous provision, where they're wanting to share some of their work with you. So we will invite you to be a part of that and make sure that you're able to see what your child has been learning. Social media as well. So this is for the whole school only. So you may have already seen that on social media. And then the final bit there is about those parent WhatsApp groups. So obviously these are great places for socializing, organizing different things, and kind of being a class community. But please make sure that anything that is shared, if there is something that you're unsure about, please do contact your child's class teacher, or obviously myself or Mrs. Hall, just to make sure that if there are any kind of other questions that you have that you can't get from other parents, then please obviously feel free to send us an email or chat with us at the beginning or end of each day.
I'll just go through a few top tips and reminders. Again, full uniform, worn with pride, following the policy. Children to come to school in their PE kits on their PE day. The children in Key Stage 1 still do not use the canteen, so you can order food online from Slices, and that will be delivered to the classrooms, but they do not go to the canteen to eat. All items labelled, including shoes or lunch boxes, snack boxes. This just really helps with children being able to find their things. Children to bring their hats every day to school so that they're able to play out at playtime safely. We do ask for 100% attendance where possible. Of course, we understand that, children get sick and emergencies happen, and in those cases, they will be unable to come to school, but we really do strive for 100% attendance. It's vital that the children are in school every day so they can keep up with their learning. And if they are absent for any reason, please do report it to the absence team and the class teacher by 7:30 a.m. And this will just stop you also getting the generic email to find out where they are. Pick up and drop off, please do arrive on time. It's important that the children are ready to start the day on time, and that they are able to go home on time. If there are any medical issues at all, please do report those to the school doctor so we can ensure that your children are safe at school, and we know what to do in the event of an emergency. And if your child is a bus user and they are not going home on the bus, please could you email the class teacher before 11 a.m. Teachers are not on their emails all the time. They are teaching. So if emails are sent after this time, they could be missed, and we would hate for your children to get on the bus and go home if you're coming in to collect them. So please, 11 a.m. would be the latest time to let your teacher know about that. And that's all from us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate your time. If there is anything that you need, our email addresses are here. You can email us. I'm always on duty. I'm on the corridors. I'm in the playground in the mornings and the afternoon. So please do come and see me and say hi, or speak to us face to face if you have any questions. And I'm sure Miss Roberts will be happy for you to pop in and say hi to her too.